Alright guys, another video. So this one I'm going to be covering so I've had a few people ask me about how I go about this process. Might not be what everyone does with this stuff, but I will be using the restofinish Rust, the metal cleaner. I won't be using the afterblast, but I'll explain that anyway. So I use this on the Valiant, all of these products, and the Valiant's been great. I've been able to leave it in bare metal, whereas I won't be using the afterblast on this because of the fact it's going straight into epoxy and getting the roof into bedliner. So what I've got here is a bunch of rust up in my window frame from a previous windscreen fitment where they've cut the screen out and they've nicked the paint back to bare metal, and because they've nicked the paint back to bare metal, over time it's just started to rust and progressed further along the windscreen frame. So got to fix that up. So I figured this will be the best way to finally show you guys how I do this treatment to the rust to get it back to a nice clean surface ready for epoxy primer. So first step will be to get in and roll lock clean and strip wheel. So I use the clean and strip wheels. They're the little purple coral wheels. I use those because they don't gouge into the metal and they give you a nice clean smooth finish to start with. So we'll get stuck in and get this windscreen frame cleaned up, ready to do the treatment. Alright, so we've got the clean and strip wheel, which is this bad boy here if I don't fall off this ladder. So I should have showed this in with the other camera, but that's it there. So little caramel coral wheel, clean and strip wheel, purple wheel on the roll-lock sander. So I find this is the best way just to get into these areas like this and clean them up. So we've got all our rusty steel here and get in. Alright, so I got all of the window frame stripped back to bare metal. From this point onwards, it's rubber gloves. So you don't want to be touching any of the metal because the sweat on your hands will get into that, and whatever you put over the top will just have moisture underneath it from your hands. Sounds silly, but seen it happen a million times. Anyway, what I've done here, so camera was going flat, so I went and put it on charge. While it was on charge, I hooked in and body worked all the roof and the camp rails on the Amarok because I had to fix all the hail damage and stuff like that. Yes, I'm aware it's got bog in it. I know, and that's just is what it is. So let's ignore that. So the tape I've got on here is to stop this stuff getting into my repaired areas. So it's nice thick race tape. So as long as I'm careful, which I will be, that'll be fine. The windscreen frame also cleaned up a lot nicer than I was actually expecting, so that's a plus. That's why those clean and strip wheels are, as far as I'm concerned, pretty amazing for this style of cleanup. So that's where all the rust was. All I've done to that is clean and strip wheeled all of that area, so it's looking good. I've gone through and stripped all around the windscreen area just to make sure there's no rust in it whatsoever, which there wasn't. This thing's pretty new. It's 2014, shouldn't be rust in places in it, so very happy with that. So honestly, I could probably just prep this and put epoxy over it, but I started the video just to show you the process, so I'm going to go through the process anyway. And the good thing is, I know for a fact that all that metal is going to be well and truly cleaned up where that rust was. So I will get in and do the first stage, which will be the Rust-Go product. So this product right here, resto-finished Rust-Go. So obviously, if you follow Malamotive Resto Finish, you will probably find out a lot more about these products than what I'm actually going to be showing and telling you here. So I'm not really good at explaining everything. I know how everything works and how to use it all, but getting stuff out of here into here often fails me. But so first stage is going to be use the Rust-Go. They say you can water it down. I just use the stuff straight. Haven't had a drama with it whatsoever. So first stage will be to use the Rust-Go, and I will put that into a cup, and then I will use some red Scotch-Brite and really scrub that into that area. Heavy rust, like what I've got on the Valiant and stuff, I have to do this process a couple of times. So it's Rust-Go, clean with demineralized water, then sand it really thoroughly again to break the surface of what it's already treated to get to the underlying stages, and then retreat it and repeat that process till you're at a happy level with that rust. So what I'll do is I'll just show you the first stage of the Rust-Go. So if you've got light rust like this, perfect, this will do the job. So let's do that. Alright, so we've got our Rust-Go, and we'll just put a little bit of that in there straight. All the instructions are on the back of the bottle too, so there's that. Also, if you look at the website, you'll obviously find a lot more information and that sort of thing. So, but it's always nice to see this stuff being used in different ways that have the same results. So we've got that in there. We've got our Smurdex red Scotch-Brite. So that's, I also say so a lot, and that's just one of those things I'm working on. But anyway, so I'll tip this up a little bit. Alright, so that in there like so, just a little bit on there so it's not running out of there. And then what we do is scrub that in like so. And you can see it foaming up a little bit. A little bit of foam there. It's all foaming up, so it's working well. Tip you guys up a bit. And scrub that in like so. You can actually see in there where that big bit of rust was, is it's actually even eating into some of that there. It's brought it up, which is the orange little bit there. Not that you can really see it because it's very fine. But that's that. So alright. So we got that in there. let that sit for a few minutes and we'll come back and have a look at that once all that's dried and set. So give me a few minutes and we'll be back. Alright, so we're back and it's all dried now. So left us with a residue on there. So we will get that all removed. And to do so is a little bit of demineralized water. So if you use tap water, all the crud in the tap water, all of the crud affects the metal, so you need a demineralized water to neutralize this and not cause yourself more work. A little bit of demineralized water, again scrub it out. You guys adjust it a little bit so you can see it's very hard because I'm doing this on a roof. So scrub him in. Seems crazy to be removing rust with water. That's just how it is. And you can see it's really gotten in and eaten all that rust away. It's looking really good. So that's all the residue off. So we'll do that. Very simple procedure. And it's very effective. But we'll grab a rag, clean this off. Get this all cleaned off. And then when we come back to it, you will see once it starts to dry that it will leave a bit of a hazy look, like it's starting to rust. But that's what the next stage is going to be for. Now, they do say you can paint over this stuff. I personally won't paint over this stuff. So different products, deoxidine, that sort of thing, they reckon you just sand back the thing, but yeah, not for me. So these are my stages after we get to this bit. Alright, so I've got a piece of 80 grit sticky pad and I've got a piece of 120 grit sticky pad. Now my metal, I always like to 80 grit it, which you would have seen me do on the Valiant. So the Valiant, I went over it with 80 grit on the orbital first. This is just to key it up so the epoxy sticks, because I'm going straight to epoxy with this one. So 80 grit, I'm just doing this little section because to do the entire thing is going to take me a while. So 80 grit, and then hook in with the 120 grit. So for me, the reason I do this is 80 grit is very coarse. So it misses a little bit, but it does do great adhesion for epoxy. And the 120, I follow up with 120 because what the 120 does is it gets in all the areas that the 180 won't scratch up because of how coarse it is. So just that finer step. So that's pretty much that done. And then what I'll do is I'll grab a piece of, you go through a lot of Scotch-Brite, that little piece of red Scotch-Brite, and just get right in there just to clean out any of that rust treatment product that's in there. And like, I'm very happy with how that looks. That's looking great. So the next stage is a little bit of metal cleaner. So what this does is it cleans up the metal so it's ready to paint. It's like Prep-Sol for metal essentially. Wax and grease remover, whatever you want to call it, but this stuff's designed specifically for the metal. And yeah, gets rid of all of whatever could possibly be left over on there that's on there. So we've got this, so we've got a dry rag and what's going to be a wet rag. So dip it in and we go, oops, sorry for the blurry camera, I'm working at heights here. So we've got wet rag, cleaning that up, and then straight away dry rag drying it. And right there is what you need to go to epoxy. So I'm going straight to epoxy with this. And because I'm going straight to epoxy, I'm not going to use the afterblast. But essentially, all I do from this stage is I get the afterblast, I put it in another cup, and then I get a paintbrush, spray bottle, whatever. I always paintbrush it on wherever I can, unless I've got a big area, then it's a spray bottle. Try not to use spray bottles just because it destroys them, and it's very costly if you put it in a spray bottle every time. So just a paintbrush, and then brush it on, and happy days. That's your metal treated and sealed. Very simple process. If you want to know more, honestly, jump over to Restofinish Melomotive, have a look at what they've got in there information wise, or send them a message or whatever. But it's a very straightforward process, and a process well worth using. And the good thing is it's all an Aussie company, so all the support and everything's right here in Australia. So very good, and I am very happy with how clean that metal is on the old Amarok, ready to get that into epoxy. So I'll get this into epoxy, get it all prepped, get the bed liner on the roof, and then the gloss black blackouts around it, and we'll check back and have a look at this before the end of the video. So see you in a second. Right guys, so we're back. I've been pretty busy, so I did get the roof all into bedliner, but I've also finished all the engine bay. Now I've come back yesterday from having 4 wisdom teeth removed, so if I'm a little bit off it, this is why. So, but yeah, got all of this done over the last couple of weeks, so the roof is looking really good. Really stoked on how that's come out now. So that's all in bedliner protected. Also up in the drip rail in here, it's just straight gloss black because the plastic roof mold's actually double-sided tape on there, and double-sided tape doesn't like sticking to bedliner too well. But around the windscreen frame is all now in that nice shiny gloss black. All done. So the windscreen can go back in, but I have to do the purple on the camp rails first. So that's all done. And me, I don't do things by halves. So when the engine bay got done, I didn't actually film any of this because I was just so busy trying to get this done before my wisdom teeth came out, and I had to go for a bit of a stop. But this panel here, move this up here. This panel here was removed, which is great. Painted underneath it, on top of it. It's all in bedliner, nice and protected. All of the engine bay is all painted, sealed. All inside the wiper cowl is all in bedliner. So the main reason I went for the bedliner was because this is a car that I don't work under the engine bay on often. I barely even open it for the most part. This thing goes off to a VW specialist, Vass Mechanical, and he deals with all the problems that I have with this thing. It's been great. Yeah, I've got too much else going on to be dealing with trying to fix this thing on the regular. So, but this has been a good truck to me. So bedliner, just well protected, easy maintenance. Literally just have to give it a clean every now and then, and it beats if I had have done it in the shiny gloss purple. I would have been in there polishing it more than I'd actually like to be polishing it. So yeah, so the engine bay is all done. The roof is all done. And yeah, so that's it for this video. I will drop through a few other videos. My next stage is going to be to get all the doors stripped down and removed so I can bodywork all the doors, get rid of the hail damage. So as you can see, I've got a few of the major dents in it all marked up and stuff, just the majors, but I do have to skim the whole top side of the doors because they got pumped with the hail, so got to skim the whole top side of the doors. And also when I did the roof, I bodyworked all the roof too, so that isn't just wrapped over hail dents, that's actually, I've fixed the roof properly, everything's been done A1 on that. So I won't talk too much because this is absolutely killing me right now, but a few more things to look forward to on the Amarok. I've got all the snorkel in mock-up at the moment, just getting all that worked out so I can get it all mounted, but that's all on there. The hole's been cut in the inner wheel arch, and which you can see I've bedlined all under the wheel arch, so that's looking really good. Don't know if the camera's going to want to get up in here, but all the holes been cut out for that, so happy days there. But yeah, I've also done all under the wheel arches and everything like that, so they're all protected now. And yeah, like full job on this thing. Will be pretty exciting to have this back on the road very shortly. So yeah, so that's it for this one, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.